Hey guys, I'm Behrad, and I'm gonna talk about how you guys could design habits, and actually what is being delivered behind your apps. Um, Before that, these are some stuff that I like use constantly in this presentation. So I'm gonna put it up after the talk, so you guys could use it. And before even begin like getting down to business of designing like habits for apps, I'm going to talk about brain. What is it? Brain is mostly water, 10% fat, and it's equal to 4 cups of butter, and it's 2% of our like body weight, but uses 20% of like our energy. And so the main building block of brain is like neuron, and this is neuron, and there is like 1 billion of them. So these are neuron in the brain, and how they connected through pathways, and there is like 1 trillion of them. So actually brain looks like this. So these are neurons and these are pathways. And so how brain works actually is, so we think that we think with our brains, but actually brain is a surviving machine. It is designed and built to get us through life. That's why 95% of our actions, feeling, and emotions are a result of unconscious processes called habits. And what happens is like brain is very good at finding patterns in our daily life. And when we feel something or think of something or do something in a particular way, brain identify that and try to identify that behavior that comes out of that feeling with a particular pathway in our brain, and call it habit. And each time that we do that habit more and more, that pathway gets stronger. And yep. So for example, some of you guys like to go jogging every morning, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And this pathway would belong to jogging every morning. So when you wake up and you don't jog, and you cannot work because you kind of missing something. Or there's tons of other examples that I think you guys are start thinking about your habits right now. We always believe that we could, that our brain just like a fixed thing. We born, grew up, and die, and our brain is just that. But we came to realize that we could change our brain by rewiring it. For example, if you want to, when you get stressed, you tend to drink coffee more. You can rewire it through, for example, meditating for like 10 minutes. So when you do meditate like for 10 minutes and keep doing it, you gradually stop drinking coffee and meditate. So that's called rewiring, and it's called neuroplasticity in action. And so that was kind of an introduction of how actually brain works, and there's like a lot of thing behind that, and it's really fascinating areas. And like one of the YouTube channels I put there in the stuff to read, it's actually all about this. So if you guys are into it, you could just tap into it more, and it's like a unlimited sea of knowledge. And I want to talk about what we actually, what our product delivers. There are to my personal opinion, there are 2 types of products. Some products like address our like initial needs, like obvious needs. They come and go, and some of them sticks because we need them, like some sort of like banking apps. We need them to pay our bills, check our accounts. These are apps, stay there, and they're just insignificant in our lives. Some of them address something a layer, a layer deeper in our brain, which actually address what we want. Want is like a hidden desire. We might want, we might need something, but actually, you know, our wanting is something else. So two good examples are like Mailbox and iTunes. And iTunes kind of revolutionized like what, how we discover musics. They kind of tap into that deeper layer of like our desires and kind of came up with something relatively new. And so also what I want to clarify is like we have need and want in real life and in virtual life. Like some, it's often like you hear that, okay, we need to go out and talk to our users, customers, or find out what their needs are. But something that we tend to forget, that the virtual life that we created has its own needs and wants as well. And so this is like a remarkable quote from the founder of Mailbox. I'll let you guys read it for a second. So it's basically what's trying to say is like we often how we approach design is like, okay, we have a app for emails on web, so just let's translate it directly to like a mobile app, and that's it, done. But each device, each I would say each kind of ecosystem or life, virtual life, real life, has different limitation, requirements, and based on those we need to approach design. And another thing that I want to talk about before jumping to design and habit is like, is this app a painkiller or vitamin? And it's kind of a coined terms like in Silicon Valley that we often hear. Is it a painkiller or vitamin? What does it mean? A painkiller is an app designed for obvious need, and it's easily monetizable, and they can make money out of it. And vitamins are like designed. These kind of apps are designed for emotional need, and it's just like one of those apps that you use it, and somebody asks you why you're using it, you just like and instantly like reply that it just makes me feel good, like doing this and that through this app. That kind of app we are talking about when we're talking about vitamins. And it's usually it's kind of an unknown market. You don't know which kind of landscape you are tapping into. What's your target market? You just like you know that there is a potential for this kind of app or area of activities. So what do you guys think? Facebook, is it a painkiller or vitamin? Painkillers? And Twitter? Pinterest? Instagram? The thing about this, all of this started as like a pleasure-seeking behavior. Like this kind of, these apps that I mentioned, started with this. Facebook was a fun thing to start with. Like Twitter was fun, and Pinterest is still fun to me, and Instagram I never used it. So they started with pleasure-seeking behavior. Like they targeted that kind of behavior, and they slowly moving towards this one. It's like you keep using Facebook or Twitter, and suddenly you cannot stop using it. That's when a kind of vitamin app becomes a painkiller. So you kind of start using these apps that, it's like fun to use. Then when it becomes a habit in your mind, you cannot stop using it. So it's kind of a closed loop when it comes to this kind of app. And habit is actually when like a downward like definition of habit is when not doing something causes pain. And to this definition, I'm addicted to Twitter. And I think, how many of you guys are addicted? There you go. So habit is like a behavior that occurs near or completely without cognition. You don't know, like you feel sad and you just go and eat a chocolate. You don't know why you did that. You did that because it's kind of your habit. And so a habit-forming technology and a habit-forming product increase unprompted users' engagement. You never know. You kind of started on a subconscious level using this app. You don't know why you use it anymore. Like at the beginning, you had a clear idea of why I want this app, but now you just use it. So a habit, in order to design a habit, you need to pay attention to what is actually behind this technology. And a habit-forming products forming products follows a pattern called a desire engine, or from the author of the Neil Elion calls it the hook. So what happens is he defines the hook as an experience designed to connect a solution to a user problem with enough frequency to form a habit. So, so a hook has 4 parts. It starts with trigger, action, variable reward, and investment. And anytime that this circle happens in your brain, brain identified as a habit, as a pattern. And if you keep doing this pattern, it gets stronger and stronger in your mind, and brain devote a very strong pathway to this habit. So in this case, my habit is using a lot like Twitter. So anytime that I use Twitter, I go through this path. I'm going to start talking about trigger. Trigger, it's simply like email notification. It's something that reminds you, okay, I got to go back, use this app. And we have external trigger and internal trigger. External is like email notification. Internal is the emotion that arises within your head. Like, I'm feeling lonely, or I don't know, feeling of I'm tired, or I'm like anything, and fear of loss, or like being indecisive, and like emotion, like internal triggers are more stronger than external triggers because it's coming from inside your head. And if your app could like target those emotions, that is when that your apps becomes more addictive for the users. And so there was a study, and you could Google it, and people with depression tend to check their emails or switch between apps more frequently. I'm not saying that here we might be like depressed, because we actually make money out of this stuff, but I mean in general for like an average user. And so, for example, like to give you an example, Instagram triggers are you can connect your Facebook and Twitter. You get app notification. There's like app icon. And internal is like fear of losing the moment. Like you are in a concert, everybody's like taking picture, and nobody pay attention actually to the whole concert. And then in the more deeper level is like being bored or lonesome, or like fear of missing out of your like friends having a fun time. And so that's how Instagram, like, address like external and internal triggers. And action it comes when you like triggers started in your brain, initiated, and you need to do an action to kind of respond to the trigger. And we have a fog behavior model for the action, and it says like if you have the ability of doing something, and if you have high motivation of doing it, and you have enough triggers, like successful triggers, the chance that you perform that action is high. So I'm going to give you like quick examples of this and this. For example, I want to go jogging. My leg hurts. I don't have the ability to go jogging. I want to go jogging. I have the ability. I have the motivation, but I don't have good shoes. So that's the triggers is here. And I have the ability to go jogging. I have good shoes, but I don't care about jogging. So that's motivation, low motivation. So if all this stuff happen, which should happen here, you perform an action that is a response to the triggers that initiated in your mind. So actions in apps that I kind of found is so in Google you search, in Gmail you open the app, and Pinterest scrolling, YouTube play, and WordPress login in Facebook. You do a lot of actions in Facebook, but to sum it up, it's logging and scrolling. So there was like external trigger or internal, whatever, then you perform an action and you expect the reward, right? And reward in your mind is connected with these two words. Anyone? Okay. Nucleus accumbens associated with part of the brain that is in control of pleasure. It understands pleasure and says, okay, I'm having a good time. And dopamine is wired through this. And so kind of in response to that pleasure. For example, and dopamine is activated by the anticipation of reward, not getting the reward. So for example, so I have a deadline, I have to deliver work. And I know that, and it's on Monday, and I know that if I start doing it from Tuesday till Friday, I can have my weekend. So I put myself into a lot of not sleeping and like working in order to have that weekend for myself. So you never know that on Tuesday you're gonna do it, because it might something happen tomorrow and you have to cancel all of your things and you have to finish it in weekend. But you kind of getting excited on Tuesday, like by the anticipation of the reward that you might get. So then that kind of thing pushes you to finish the job. It's getting so this part of the mind is getting activated anytime that you anticipate you might get a reward, and you might not necessarily get the reward or not. So anytime you anticipate, you supercharge this area. And how your apps can supercharge this area, the answer is simple. The unknown is what's fascinating for mind. So sometimes you go you use an app and you kind of feel a moment of suspense. Like you don't know what to do, but you still want to you keep waiting and you keep more curious of seeing what's going on. next step. That's what I call it, the unknown. So you want to create this, and like, so you want to create this moment of suspense, because mind likes suspense. Mind like to be like predict or what's going to happen next. So when mind start predicting, it gets the focus and engagement of mind increasing. So that's when you got your users. And when if you keep doing that and if you keep rewarding this way, you get your users addicted to your app. And we have 3 types of reward that your apps can deliver. We have the tribe, the hunt, and the self. The tribe is what happens in Facebook. Like somebody says, okay, I got married and like got like 100 likes from their friends. So that's kind of a reward that you get from your tribe. The hunt is like from medieval time, we were searching for food and for water. Now we are searching for information, right? It's just changed. So the hunt, when you like scrolling on Pinterest and find something cool and repin it, that's the reward you get from Pinterest. Or Twitter, when you like scroll down and like find a like awesome like article on like whatever you guys doing, that's a hunt. And the self is like that awesome moment that you zero your inbox. It's just like, I finally zero my inbox. That's the self, the competence, the self mastery. So so that's kind of reward you get from your apps, using the apps. And so the other thing about reward is like reward can be finite and infinite. So like when you playing like single player games, it just like after some time it gets boring. But if you play multiple games, multiplayer games, it's always interesting, because the mind likes variability, and variability keeps mind focused and engaged within an app. So the success here is like user needs to feel some sort of autonomy of using the app and getting rewarded by using the app, and also and you need to reward users in an infinite manner, and at the end of the day, your app should solve a problem of the users. So if you have all this stuff, but actually your app cannot address that, it's not going to happen. And the last part of the puzzle is like investment. It's like the kind of like when I go to Facebook, like I like, or I pin on Pinterest. So this kind of thing that apps ask users to do is really crucial, because if a user come to the app just like consume some sort of information, your apps become finite. So you want to always like keep users like engaged. So you ask them to do something. So and also investment increases the likelihood of users coming back and use your apps again. So you want to keep this loop going till the habit is created within like users' mind. So investment are the very important part of the puzzle, and we have 3 types of investments or feedback loop. The kind of investment, the first one is like loading the next trigger, is like the kind of investment that you do when you're using your Gmail. You send an email and you are waiting in the anticipation of getting the response back. So that's what it's called, loading the next trigger. And storing value is like your followers on Twitter or like my pins on Pinterest this kind of stuff that you store value, and it's like you store it in the app and it's valuable for you. And the last one is creating preference. And you know that if you do this and this constantly, your apps become the app that you are using become personalized to you. So you keep doing this and this in order to get like spot on like recommendation, or through the app. So so these two kind of you keep doing this and this in order to get this, which is like a personalized recommendation, or like follow this on Twitter, or I don't know, follow this board on Pinterest. So this investment is really crucial, because we often tend to hear that user experience is basically ease of use, but it's not. Ease of use is kind of a very narrow-minded perspective on user experience, and we might want to keep the user experience behind our app sometimes simple when it comes to logging in, but in the in some apps your banking apps, you don't want to keep it simple for users. So you want to make users work more in order for them to come back. So this is really important. You might want to going through this cycle of creating habits. You might ask, do I want to keep my app so simple for users that they just come, use it, and go and never come back? Or do I want to design it in a way that they just come back, get reward, do some actions, and then come back again? That's it. This is my Twitter, and
Anybody have questions?
No? Well, more of a comment than a question. The thing is, what's described here is a bit like the drug lord in the bad case. So if you have, for example, farming apps, they just work on this triggering and getting a reward and keeping users doing it while basically setting some advertisements or having pay them small amounts of money. So this is the bad side. There's a side like with all design patterns, you can use them in a dark way, like dark patterns. You can use them in a good way just to really release the pain that users have because they have a specific need. And just as a comment, it's important to keep the balance between these two things, to have a good and not to misuse your users.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, but I mean, if you have a very good objective, there's a good objective behind your app, and if you use this pattern that is very well established, you could actually make a very positive change in the most effective way. But I agree, there are so many apps that try to get users addictive to them, and it's sad to see them that they are working and they're working properly.
Isn't there kind of a gray area between need and want? Because I need Facebook as a communication tool, and I want to read a lot of crap from people I follow.
Well, I mean, I don't know, it's just usually what I read and implies that need is more your surface, desires, and wants is more deeply rooted in your mind. And it says you might want you to use like Facebook because you want to keep in touch with like your friends, but actually your hidden desires is just you might feel lonely. That's why you want to just like go online, be online on Facebook, in order to feel not lonely. So I mean, it's really like complicated area of like what is actually your need, what is actually you wanting. There is different layers of like desires, and yeah, it's different from person to one person.
I have a question. What is your background or your profession?
I'm a user experience, user interface designer, and I used to work for Moped, a startup in Berlin. Yeah, for.
All right, any more questions?
Yeah, I guess I have one. So this is very applicable to consumer apps. How would you transfer this knowledge into a B2B situation? Like, what are the elements that you could say are applicable for boring apps?
I mean that's different area, because like B2B situation is really different, because like there is a clear definition of the need. I need this app to do this for me, and I pay it back through this kind of business model. And you don't need to make so much strategy for user engagement. You have the customers already there in the market, so you just have to make sure that again, coming back to the previous slide, you might want to just pay attention that the user experience design behind my app is easy to use. That's when it comes to B2B, but when it comes to B2C, it's getting more complicated.